Hello and welcome back to the Rodon. My name is Beast, and today we're back with Sky Full of Stars. I know what else to say here, really. There's not really much else to say right now, so I guess I don't have to say anything. I do remember wanting to say something though. Shut the fuck up! What was the noise? Help. Anyways, this is annoying. I wanted to say something, but I can't remember what. No, well, let's just get going, I guess.
大きいね。これをあんたら学生さんたちで作ったのかい？はい、
ドブソニアンって言って自分たちで手作りする天体望遠鏡なんです。
お嬢さんも手伝ったのかい？
はい。よろしければ覗いてみてください。今夜は火星が見頃ですので。
Robotic from nervousness, Honoka showed the shopping center association president.
おお、これが火星か。
And yes, this isn't actually iced tea today. It's, I don't know what to call this. We call it Spezi. I don't know what to call it in English. It's itchy. I'm itchy. I don't know why. Anyways, there were many adults other than the chairman about. All of them were invited by us, and were just everyday people who didn't normally look at the stars. The Lobsonian must have fascinated them. They were all very interested.
なかなかうまくいってるみたいじゃない。
なるわ。
よう、遊びに来たよ。いらっしゃい、ジンノさん。久しぶり。元気だった？元気。ジンノさんは？毎日ガリ勉やってるわよ。昨日まで世間の浮かれてる連中が憎くてしょうがなかったけど、今はいい気分よ。
俺のおかげだよね、なるえちゃん。
Takichi promptly made his appeal.
なんでそうなるんだよ。星が綺麗なのは別にあんたの手柄じゃないでしょうが。
隣に誰がいるか。それによって星の輝きも変わるだろう。
はあ？あんたには物理法則をねじ曲げる力でもあるってのかい？やめとくれよ。にしても賑やかだね。プレアデス1号のファーストライトの時よりいるんじゃない？
I already set this looking at the number of people around. Other than the adults we had invited. Other than the adults had we invited. Yes, indeed, that's what it should say. Other than the adults we had invited. Now we're students around our age from schools.
これもアキ兄たちが頑張ったおかげだよね。
They didn't do anything special.
そんなこと言って、私があっちにいる間もいろいろ動いてくれてたくせに。
Project Starlight had started when Hikari came back to Japan. All the people were here today because of the pamphlets handed out at the PR done on the internet. The recognition of each school's astronomy or Earth Science Club skyrocketed. Understanding of our work or the project was still far off, but for the time being, it seemed that people at least thought it was interesting. But we actually had been working hard since long before the project had started.
子供を集めた観望会でプレアデス1号を持ってったことあったよね。
Oh yeah!
あれすごくウケたよね。
Local children's event had been turned into a kids stargazing meetup. One of their guardians had been an old Six Stars Club member and had asked to borrow our telescope. We had lent the equipment readily and had also brought along the Pleiades 1. It had been a huge hit. The kids had been surprised at the huge handmade telescope, and they had fun seeing space through it. The Guardians had remembered the name of our club, and after that, they called us out for the events. All of that had built up to tonight's gathering. We all felt it was worth it.
ところで、あの子はどうしたの？ほら、綺麗な目した子。
Could you at least remember Saya's name?
さやさんは。
Everyone started to fidget.
なるえちゃん、あっちの人気のないところで二人きりで星見ようぜ。
Like Takichi is just gently trying to, Get her out of the conversation right now.
はあ？一人で行きなさいよ。
そう言わずにさ。
ちょっと、引っ張るんじゃないよ。まだ話終わってないってば。
Takichi was pulling Narue pretty hard. He was either being considerate or wanted to be alone with her, maybe both. But that awkward air remained.
ふんと。さやのことなんか知らない。
Saya hadn't come to tonight's meetup. It had been 2 days after Hikari and I had gotten together. We had gathered at the Meiko Astronomy Club room and were doing a final check on the stargazing preparations.
コメントガール先輩、見てください。この秀逸な動画の数々を。うわぁ、なんじゃこりゃ。私がアメフトやってる。他にもあります。先輩に見せるために人気の動画からマイナーなものまで集めてきました。すごい数。私超有名人じゃん。ねえ、ほら、アキト、見て見て。
Already saw it. Answered, slightly bewildered. What's she so happy about?
すげえ。無駄によくできてる。すげえ。そうでしょう、そうでしょう。
Inui beamed as if she was the one being praised. There was a knock at the door. While watching the movies, I could see Hikari tense up for a second when she heard the sound.
遅くなりました。
Saya entered the room. She was the last to arrive today. After glancing at me, Saya went over to Honoka without changing expression.
Saya!
Hikari gave back Hinami's smartphone and walked over to Saya.
こないだはありがとう。
Hikari held out the umbrella with an awkward expression. Saya took it
お
wordlessly.
かげで助かった。
Saya's face suddenly went sour.
別にお礼を言われることじゃないわ、ほうき星さん。ほうき星さん？だってこれはアキトくんに貸したんだもの。ねえ、今ほうき星さんって言った？うん。
A little shorter, Saya glared up at Hikari. Hikari forced a smile. I'm sure that wasn't the only one. I was the only one who knew it was to hide her anger.
とにかく返すね。あなたの意図とは違ったかもしれないけど、使わせてもらっちゃったから一応お礼も言うね。ありがとう、天の川さん。
Poor Honoka is just in complete panic.
何？どうしたんですか？
黙ってろ、豊田。信じてえか。
Say a word and they will kill you.
話はそれだけかな。それだけ。じゃあ、
Saya's shoulder bumped Hikari's chest and Hikari staggered. Why is this happening now? What? I'm confused.
あら、ごめんなさい。無駄に出っ張ってるからぶつかっちゃった。
What the fuck is happening? Why is this round making Saya slightly unlikable now?
こいつだ。
Saya humped through her nose, then ignored Hikari and went over to Honoka.
優しかった天の川先輩が暗黒面に落ちた。
What's this expression? Jesus. I guess the nicer someone was, the scarier they were when they're angry. Waves of darkness radiated from Saya's small frame. Everyone watched in silence as she crossed the room.
吉岡さん。はい。うちの天文部の人たちの漫画の手伝いが忙しいので、しばらくそちらに専念したいんだけど、いいかしら。はい。それは、どういう。そのまんまの意味ですよ。しばらく、こちらには顔を出せませんので。
What the fuck is happening? Honoka looked to everyone else for help. Toyoda and Konakajima averted their eyes. The first just froze, and Hikari was silent. Looked at Honoka and nodded silently.
わかりました。さやさんは今までも頑張ってくださってましたし、聖戦天文部の方々のイラストは今や不可欠な戦力です。 こちらのことは我々に任せて、どうぞそちらに専念してください。ありがとう。わがままを聞いてもらっちゃって。それじゃあ。
Saya said her greetings to Honoka, nodded to the others, ignored me, finally fixed her eyes on Hikari.
さや。リーダー。
Saya held the umbrella Hikari had given back lovingly to her chest and left the room. After that, Saya didn't show her face at the Six Stars gatherings and stopped coming to the stopping by. I put it off for a while, but unable to stand it, I used the excuse of tonight's stargazing to contact her. Then?
光の顔なんてもう見たくない。ほっといて。
That was her reply. Of course I didn't show Hikari that text or tell her about it. But I think she somehow sensed it.
さやの意地っ張り。本当にもう知らないんだから。
She complained away. The three of us had been together so long, it was hard to hide things from each other. I had talked about it with Takeichi that afternoon, but...
そっとしとくしかねえだろう。
But listen, I want her to make up with Hikari too.
気持ちはわかるが、今は無理だろ。それに、あいつからしたら、お前におせっかい焼かれるのが一番しんどいと思うぞ。
Oh, alright. I'd known how Saya felt and still chosen Hikari. Wanting to make Saya happy now was just for my own selfish
し
ego.
かし、なんで光を選ぶかね。
Mean she's cute? You wouldn't understand, Take.
お前こそ、あいつのソバットの破壊力知らねえだろ。浮気でもしようものなら、ただじゃ済まねえぞ。
He said it as if he's planning to cheat. To Takeichi, Hikari was still his sworn enemy who unleashed rolling Sobot kicks and giant swings. Did I skip anything? I didn't skip anything. I'm sure she won't do that at this age. Grind, 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 grind.
私という可愛い彼女がいながら浮気するとはどういう了見よ。
Grind, 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 grind. Sorry, I said sorry, so quit it with the double wrist lock.
許さん。
Crick, crick, crick. Ah! Bet she is still good at the joint locks. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she'd still used if she'd still use a rolling Sobot kick. Anyway, Hikari was the only one for me who I had no plans to cheat.
それより、今はブラジャーのホックだ。
Alright, bring it! Unfortunately, the fact that Saya had not been attending had only had minimal impact on the... Unfortunately, the fact that Saya had not been attending had only a minimal impact on the Six Stars Club. Project Starlight was already in motion with the pamphlets, its website, and site prep already done. I was sure she knew that when she said those things. But I still felt a twinge of loneliness about it. It was slightly bothersome that the project went off without a hitch even without Saya. Hikari was checking something on her smartphone. She was rechecking the script for the presentation to be given to the guests. Don't look so serious, it doesn't suit you.
真面目な顔しなきゃいけない日でしょ。っていうか、似合わないって何よ失礼な。
I'm just saying you're too tense. You can just act natural like always, Hikari. That's what made Hikari special.
そのいつも通りができないんだもん。
なん
でもない。見せてあげるから。さやがいなくたってできるってとこ。そうしたら、あの子に報告しといてね。私が平気そうにしてたって。
Hikari walked away, looking at her smartphone as if she wanted to say I was in the way. She's gonna be alright. Her somehow brooding profile made me worry.
おったおった。おーい、小僧。
Oh, it's Old Man Champ! Huh? Old Man Champ, you came!
その呼び方やめ。
Tell me a fucking name that I won't call you that! The small, stubborn-looking old man waved. Next to him is someone I didn't know. It looked like they had come together. He was much younger than Champ, but must have been over 40. He was a relaxed-looking gentleman.
彼ですか。徳さんが話していた有望な若者というのは。
Oh, Toku.
なかなかの選球眼を持っておる。こいつの選んでくるものに外れはないぞ。
はあ。
The seeming friend of Old Man Champ was vaguely nodding for some unknown reason. Like, he pulled Champ close and whispered something. Give me a break, old man. Don't talk about me to people.
おう、すまんすまん。ついお前さんのことを自慢したくてな。
He was smiling like I was his proud grandson or something. Not happy being praised for having a good batting eye for choosing porno mags from the internet. Champ still made me look for porno mags on the internet whenever I had time. He seemed to really like what I chose, which made me happy, but I didn't really want him to brag about it. So who is this?
わしの古い馴染みじゃ。
こんばんは、森田一郎と言います。徳さんに昔お世話になっていたものです。
Why did he buy you porn when you were still too young? Even Mr. Morita's greeting was gentlemanly. Even Mr. Let's try it again. Even Mr. Morita's greeting was gentlemanly. He possessed a soft manner and a gentle air, but I felt I could see a hint of intellectual light in his eyes. Just standing in front of him, my posture straightened. Pleased to meet you. I'm Akito Sorami, president of the Hoshino Daiichi Astronomy Club.
徳さんから話は聞いていますよ。
I hoped it wasn't about the porno mags. Also, Old Man Champ was called Toku. I'd never known anyone to call him by his
こ
name.
れがお前さんらの天体望遠鏡か。
Yes, it's an Upsonian we built a year ago.
はあ、でかいのう。
With eyes like a child, Champ peered into the mirror box containing the main mirror that he had instructed us how to polish.
すべて手作りしたんですか？
Yes, everything but the angled mirror is handmade. We built the frame out of scraps of wood.
初めてにしては随分と立派だ。よくできていますね。
Mr. Morita was admiring the details of Pleiades 1. Do you know about telescopes?
ええ、私も昔作ってたことがあるので。けれど、初めからこんなに大きなものに挑戦はしませんでした。
I thought it would be impossible while we were building it. I replied with a forced smile. Maybe he knew Champ because he used to build telescopes a long time ago.
そういう若さゆえの勇み足が功を奏する時もあります。なかなかいい望遠鏡だ。見せてもらってもいいですか？
Sure, go ahead. I brought over a ladder. Mr. Morita chose a celestial body with the finder and looked into the eyepiece.
思ったより像も鮮明だ。光軸もきれいに合わせてあるようですね。
After last year's event, we had to realign Pleiades 1 carefully. We made focusing smoother and adjusted the movement of the altazimuth stand so that it was less erratic. We had to use a laser collimator to adjust the optical axis. That was a tool for adjusting reflective telescopes that uses a laser for very precise adjustments. Using that together with a centering eyepiece had allowed us to make every minute adjustments so the image was much sharper than before.
ほほう。きれいに見えるもんじゃのう。
Old Man Champ clamped the ladder after Mr. Morita and spoke up excitedly. I like how even after learning that his name is Toku, he's still calling him Old Man Champ. Well, that's thanks to your instructions. I was finally able to have Champ see stars through Pleiades 1. Champ was getting on in years, so it had been difficult to invite him to stargazings.
あきにちょっといい？吉岡先輩がテントが足りないって言ってるんだけど。
I'll be right there! I'm sorry, but I have to go. Please enjoy yourselves.
そうさせていただきます。
An hour had passed since the stargazing event had begun. For the night's viewing, we focused on the planet Mars and the other stars and constellations that were well known by the people who were there. The presence of Pleiades 1 was huge. Everyone felt it was special to view these celestial bodies through the handmade telescope. Just when everything was peaceful. May I have everyone's attention? When I called out, the guests turned towards me. The reason we are all here tonight is because we, the Six Stars Club, have something we wish to ask of you. I'm hoping for a moment of your time to say a few words. The crowd started to murmur, but they were listening. I signaled Hikari next to me with my eyes. Hikari took a half step forward.
皆さん、はじめまして。天の中天文部部長のほうき星ひかりと言います。
I heard her say Amanonaka, and after the Amano, of course, I thought the next part was gonna be Gawa. But of course that wouldn't be it, because there's no Amanogawa school. As Hikari introduced herself with a bow of her head, the crowd looked at her quizzically. They didn't know what was about to happen. Hikari winced slightly under their gaze, but regained her composure.
皆さん、双子座流星群のことはご存知でしょうか？
The crowd started talking amongst themselves.
最近テレビでやっとるやつだろ？流れ星がたくさん降ってくるっていう。
そうです。流星群がどういうものかご説明しますと、簡単に言うと、一度にたくさんの流れ星が降ってくる現象で、毎年決まった時期に現れます。現れる方向も決まっていて、その方向にある星座の名前で呼ばれます。双子座流星群は、双子座の方から降ってくるわけです。
So that Whipstar is still her line.
皆さんの中には、2001年に出現した獅子座流星群を覚えていらっしゃる方もいるんじゃないでしょうか。
When people heard the name of the Leonids, people started to talk. Many people were nodding, and I heard someone say, "Yeah, I heard about that!" It must have been quite the topic at the time. It was quite a while ago, but it really had brought meteor showers into the public eye. I mean, pubic eye. That's quite clearly, I meant pubic eye, not public eye.
獅子座流星群は例年にない大量の流れ星を降らせました。それこそ雨のように、この夜空をひっきりなしに流星が流れていったのです。
Everyone looked up without thinking.
残念ながら私は見ることができませんでした。同じ規模の獅子座流星群を日本で見ようと思ったら、あと10年以上待たないといけません。
People listening to Hikari, who looked up to the sea only a sky full of flickering lights, lowered their gazes dejectedly.
ですが、もしかするとあと半月も待たずに見られるかもしれません。
テレビで言っとったあれかい？
Whoops, I accidentally cut her off there. Please finish.
もしかするとあと半月も待たずに見られるかもしれません。雨のように降る流れ星が。
There we go. Hikari nodded.
そうです。双子座大流星群です。
Everyone seemed to gulp slightly.
今年は双子座流星群の当たり年で、例年の倍以上の流星が夜空に降るって言われてます。
それってすごいのかい？
People that didn't get it were whispering to each other. The Diminutive meteor shower is counted among the top 3 meteor showers. It's very active. Normally for around 1 hour on the prime day, nearly 100 meteors will fall. That will be more than twice a normal year. I think it's something to look forward to.
なるほど。
When the Shopping Center Association president nodded, the people around him nodded in agreement.
ところで皆さん、ちょっと空を見てください。
Reached by Hikari, everyone craned their necks up. There was the night sky, nothing unusual.
観望会を始めた頃より、夜空が暗くなったと思いませんか？
暗くなった。
The night sky is always dark. It seemed that no one had noticed the change.
見える星の数はどうでしょう？
星の数。そういえば少し減った気がするの。さっきまであの辺りにも星が見えておったのに。
Old man Champ flushed and diverted his eyes at Hikari's sudden laugh. He was still a shy boy who wasn't good around young girls.
そう言われてみれば減った気がするな。あの明るい星の周りにもう少し小さな星があった気がする。
Thanks to Old Man Champ, people gained confidence in their own intuition and began to speak up.
どうして見えなくなったんだろう。
それは月が昇ってきたからです。
The moon had risen at some point from the mountain ridge. The moon had been hidden at the time the meetup started.
月の光が小さな星の光をかき消してしまったんです。
When the moon rises, the number of stars drop. That probably sounded strange to people not involved in astronomy, but now they were seeing it with their own eyes. To get them to experience it themselves, earlier we had slightly pointed out the arrangement of dimmer stars that would
流
fade.
星群の降るよ。もし今夜のように月が昇ってくればどうなってしまうでしょう。流星のほとんどは暗く小さな光です。きっと月光に飲まれて消えてしまうでしょうね。
Listening to Hikari, people who were becoming interested in the meteor shower looked disappointed.
けれどご安心ください。双子座流星群が極大になる12月14日はちょうど新月で月はありません。
Everyone looked relieved at once. The moon waxes and wanes over the course of a month, but on the night of the new moon, it completely disappears. New moon on the prime day of a meteor shower is the absolute best situation for viewing.
ですが夜空の星を隠してしまうものは月光だけじゃありません。光害という言葉をご存知じゃないですか？
This was also probably something most people had heard of.
本来暗いはずの夜を人工の光で照らすことによって起こる様々な害のことを言います。地上の光も月光と同じく星を隠してしまうんです。
Seemed that Hikari's heartfelt words were having an effect on those listening. Everyone had fallen quiet, drawn in by her speech.
私は三日月村の出身です。小さい頃この辺りで過ごしました。
Hikari looked up at the sky again.
仲のいい友達と3人でこの場所で毎晩のように星を数えていました。あの頃の夜空は今よりずっと明るかった。無数の星が雄大な夜空のスクリーンにひしめくように瞬いていて、星明かりが闇夜を照らしているようでした。一つ一つの星たちは小さな小さな光です。目が闇に慣れていなければ見えないような。でもそんな小さな光が無数に集まればこんなにも明るい夜空になる。子供心に不思議に感じ、私たちは星の世界に引き込まれていきました。
Hikari put her hands to her chest and closed her eyes, just like she was calling the lost sky just like she was recalling the lost sky from inside her.
けれど私が夜空を見上げるのを忘れているうちにいくつもの星が姿を消していました。地上に明かりが一つ灯ると夜空の星が一つ消えてしまうのです。注意深く観察していないとなくなっていることにも気がつかないような小さな光たち。でももし月が隠れるように地上の明かりが消えることがあればあの星たちは帰ってきます。そしてそんな夜がもしも実現すれば小さな流れ星もきっと見つけることができるでしょう。見てみたいと思いませんか？大流星群の降る夜、無数の小さな光たちに彩られた星空を、あの頃のような明るい夜を。
Everyone looked up at the night sky, darker than before, just like they were seeing the bright night. Hikari saw, just like they were seeing as if they were seeing the bright night Hikari saw when she was a child. No, they must have seen it as well. Most people simply didn't remember.
どうすればいいんだね。
Shopping Center Association President asked Hikari.
12月14日、双子座流星群が極大になるその夜、部屋の明かりを消してほしいんです。もし星の中の人たちみんなが明かりを消してくれたなら、きっとあの頃の星空を取り戻すことができます。
部屋の明かりを消すだけでいいのかい？看板やなんだったら街路灯の明かりも間引くことができると思うよ。その日一日くらいなら。
本当ですか？
If you could, we'd like everyone to tell as many people as they can. Your families, neighbors, and co-workers. The reaction was better than expected, so I quickly added
皆
this.
さん、どうですかね。ひょっとすると、いい町おこしになるかもしれませんよ。
The adults started talking about it.
これは想像以上ですね。
ええ。
We didn't think the adults would be so sympathetic, so we couldn't help getting excited. Then one man raised his hand. It was Mr. Morita, who came with Old Man Champ.
質問よろしいでしょうか。
Oops.
はい、どうぞ。
夜空から星が消えてしまうことはそんなにもいけないことでしょうか。
Morita, why you gotta be an asshole? Everyone was confused by Mr. Morita's question.
あのおっさん、今の話聞いてなかったのか。せっかくいいムードになってるのに。
そう思います。だって、こんなにも綺麗なのに。
街の明かりが害であるかのようにおっしゃいましたが、あなた方もその豊かさを享受しているはずです。都合の良い時だけ悪者扱いするのはいかがなものかと思いますが。
それは。
Hikari choked up and couldn't answer. Seeing this, Mr. Morita's face clouded
そ
slightly.
れから看板や街路灯を間引くのには反対です。主に防犯上の理由から。
確かに、そうかもしれませんな。
Mr. Morita. Mate. Don't have to be a complete asshole, okay?
つってもその日一日だけっすよ。
うん。別に問題ないと思うけど。
Seeing the atmosphere starting to get tense, I quickly cut in. As for that, we only just received that suggestion and haven't inspected it fully. We plan to take it into further
そう
consideration.
願います。
やめんか、子供相手に。お前さんは昔からそういう大人げないところがあるくらいかん。
失礼しました。ただちょっと気になったものですから。
We want to enjoy the meteor shower under the best conditions. Hikari nodded and continued.
一人でも多くの人に、一つでも多くの流星を見てほしい。そうして、星空の美しさに気づいてほしいんです。
That was the real aim for Project Starlight.
そうですね。それは私も賛同します。
When Mr. Morita answered, he gave a gentlemanly greeting and left. Finally, the asshole is gone.
今夜お話しした内容については、こちらの用紙にまとめてありますので、よろしければ後で。
At Runoka signal, the first years passed out the papers to everyone. The momentary tense air departed and the peaceful atmosphere returned. And so the night stargazing ended. I didn't know if we did well or not, but I thought that Hikari had gotten the point across pretty well, until an asshole decided to speak up. My nose is itchy. I don't like it. I've been looking at my reflection in the glass from different angles, fixing the sleeves of my jacket and my hair. Kotor had been wagging his tail like he wanted to play, but when he understood I wouldn't play with him, he just took a nap in his doghouse. The scarf looks the scarf is kind of dorky. It was a scarf I always wore, but it wasn't a very fashionable design. I don't have another one. It's too cold for no scarf. Huh? I met Miss Miura's eyes in the store through the glass. She was really glaring at me. Uh-oh. Pretended not to notice and averted my eyes. Then the train slid into the station. After a short wait, a girl appeared from the ticket gate. Hikari! Seeing me in front of the store, Hikari waved and ran over. Hikari yelled out something like the name of a move as she jumped into me. I somehow managed to catch her. She said this while hugging me, arms and all, from the side. It was hard that day. It was hard that day. It was cold that day. I thought it was basically gonna be like it's hard to stay upright or something like that because it sounds like she like full on has both her arms and her legs around him currently. The forecast had been calling for temperatures close to 0.
ねえねえ、寒いよ。
She drilled her head into my shoulder while speaking in a begging voice. There. I held Hikari to warm her up. You're so soft, Hikari. I could feel how squishy she was, even through the coat.
どうせ太ってるもん。
I didn't mind that the fat part was her chest.
イラ。バカップルめ、超新星爆発しろ。どうしたの？
I kind of felt the chill just now.
風？大丈夫？
No, I feel fine. I think I just felt the malice of someone who doesn't want to celebrate other people's happiness. The source was on the other side of the glass.
よ、コウタロウ。
Wanting Hikari to play with him, Kotaro came out of the house with his tail
ごめん
wagging.
ね、コウタロウ。遊んであげられないんだ。
Ah, fucking damn it, not her too!
私たちこれからデートだから。
Oh, the bus just got here.
じゃあね、コウタロウ。まったね。
Hikari stopped hugging me and jogged to the bus stop. I followed after her. That's right, we had a date today. It had been a while since I'd been on the rattly old bus from Mikazuki Station. I could see the ocean from the window of the bus as it followed the main road. It came to the ocean side of Hoshinonaka City. The ocean! It's huge. A huge body of water was that filled our entire vision and impressed us. The old Mikazuki village was in the mountains, so we only ever swam in the rivers. It wasn't the first time I had seen the ocean, but since I was a working student, it had been quite a while. What was that
い
for?
やー、かわいいなーと思って。海見てはしゃいでるアキト。よしよし。
She petted my head for some reason. Amahai, where Hikari went to school, was next to the ocean, and the train she rode to Mikazuki Station ran by the ocean for a while. She had lived in a South Asian country until last month, and it seemed she lived by the ocean. Don't call a man cute.
はい。可愛くなんかないでちゅね
She rubbed my head even harder. She wasn't flattering me. She really thought I was cute. I kinda didn't get it, but was kinda happy. As we were doing that, the bus arrived at its destination, Arbor Town. Called it. This is the trendy place I heard about. Harbor Town!
うわー、相変わらずの人だね。
It was a holiday and Harbor Town was crowded. Many people were walking to and fro on the road, which was closed off to cars. In Mikazuki Village, you'd never see this many people, even on a national holiday. You've been here before, right, Hikari?
うん。
Thought she'd been here with Saya before. They told me about Harbor Town after they came back, but I didn't think I'd ever come, so I didn't really listen. It was an open mall that was famous locally and even drew people from outside Hoshinonaka. It was kind of an adult date spot. It was fashionable and popular with local girls, but sort of a high hurdle for students. Where should we go first? A wide avenue stretched between buildings, built to look like a foreign port town. Both sides were lined with shops, and there were even street stalls that sold crepes and ice cream. Let's go to that clothing store. It kind of stands out. I chose a destination at random. Hikari pulled on my arm.
あそこ有名なブランドのお店だよ。アキトが想像してるよりゼロが2個多いよ。
Now that you said it, I did recognize that logo.
無理にリードしてくれなくていいって。アキトにそんなこと期待してないんだから。
Hikari said this and walked in front of me.
あそことか、私らでも大丈夫なお店だよ。 あっちも、あと、あの雑貨屋さん、面白いんだ。
As I thought, girls were best at this kind of thing. Even so, I thought that if girls from my school came to Harbor Town for the first time, they'd be overwhelmed. I feel like you're used to this place,
何
Hikari.
が？
Used to places like this. You're a real Alma High student. Alma High was in the most modern part of Hoshinonaka City and was known for the modern designs of the buildings and uniforms.
そうかな。
Can't believe you're the same Hikari I went swimming in the river with.
やだ。何？すねちゃった？
No way. I only met her around Mikazuki Village since we'd reunited, and I hadn't noticed. From when she moved until now, Hikari had grown up in a different place. I was really feeling the time we had spent apart. I held Hikari's hand without speaking. The other couples were doing it. The majority of other couples in the area were all holding hands.
あー、うん。
I didn't like Hikari taking the lead so much, so I tried to just act like everyone else, but Hikari blushed and stopped. What are you embarrassed about?
いや、なんかこれ、付き合ってる感じするなって。
Well, you are. Didn't you hug me when you showed up?
そういうのはほら、子供の頃もやってたじゃん。でも、手つないで歩くのはやってなかったでしょ。
That was true.
恋人っぽい。
Hikari mumbled happily, then entwined our fingers. Our hands couldn't get any closer. Shall we go? Hikari nodded shyly as she held my hand, and we started walking together. We were taken in by the adult atmosphere of the shopping mall. We were only awkward at first. Once we got used to it, we were able to enjoy the atmosphere. We didn't come to shop, we only came to walk and hold hands. Everything else was just extra. When I realized this, I started worrying about picking up items I wasn't going to buy and peeking in brand store windows that I couldn't afford. All the fashionable shops and the foreign feeling of the place was like walking through a theme park. That's hot!
ごめん、暑かった。
Oh, there's a nice CG. And fuck her! I was eating Italian-style takoyaki while we walked. It was a street stall and it looked interesting, so I wanted something warm, so I bought it.
どう？美味しい？
It's good. I was thinking, what are you doing making takoyaki Italian, but it wasn't bad at all.
私も食べよっと。ああ。
Gotta try another one. It looked hot.
おいしい。
I've never really eaten anything like
ト
it.
マトとチーズと、この風味はバジルだね。
Basil. That's what that was. It was a vegetable that they didn't have at the Mikazuki supermarket.
はい。
Even while we ate Italian takoyaki, we never stopped holding hands. Since we each inevitably only had one hand free, I held the takoyaki box and Hikari held the toothpick to feed me. It was an annoying way to eat. Man, that was good.
よかった。
It was nice eating hot takoyaki in the cold, but my first taste of Italian and this unusual way to eat doubled my feelings of happiness. Hikari,
食いしん坊さんだね。はい。
I was hungry, but I also wanted Hikari to feed me. I could never show this love-struck face to Takichi or Miss Miharu.
おいしい。
Delicious! With warmth and happiness between our teeth, we heard the rhythm of drums from across the way. What is that?
パレードじゃないかな。
A group of people dressed like circus performers walked down the street, playing drums and other instruments.
ハーバーくんだ。ほら、アキト、あれ。
What is Harbor Boy? A big mascot stood out in the middle of the performers. It looked like a seabird on a boat. It was handing out balloons to the kids that gathered
ハー
around.
バータウン のマスコットだよ。いいなあ。私も風船欲しい。
Why don't you go get one?
でも
Fortunately, both her hands were occupied. She could have just let go of my hand for a minute, but that would make me lose to Harbor Boy, so I didn't suggest it. Hikari stuck the toothpick in the Italian takoyaki and then pulled me by the arm over to Harbor Boy.
ください。はい、どうぞ。
He talks! Thought mascots like that usually just danced and waved without talking. Harbor Boy gave Hikari a balloon and a pamphlet.
プラネタリウムで冬の夜空のダイヤモンドを上映してるよ。
Harbor Boy waved to us and continued on with the
行っ
performers.
ちゃった。
So he was plugging the planetarium. They're pretty serious about it.
本当だね。
We said that, but we were headed to the planetarium. The main event of our date was going to be the planetarium. That's why I had to come to Harbor Town.
いいなあ。私たちもここでビラ配りできないかな。
There are a lot of people here, but we probably wouldn't get permission.
私、着ぐるみ着てみたい。子供らに大人気だよ。
She said this, thrusting the balloon at
い
me.
いなあ。
Why don't you get a part-time job doing that?
そういうんじゃないんだよな。
Gotti looked over the pamphlets she got from Harbor Boy, lost in thought. On it was written the program for the planetarium we were going to, with the explanation of Diamond of the Winter Sky. Looks interesting.
うん。
I came without really researching what it was about, but I thought it looked good. We have a little time before it starts. What should we do?
しょっぱいものの次は甘いものでしょ。
Gotti pointed out a crepe shop with a grin. After enjoying our snacks and peeking into the bookstore and bookstore and general store, we headed towards the planetarium. We entered the dome-shaped building on the outskirts of Harbor Town. We'll probably stop like at like 1 hour and a half. Because I'm tired. It's beautiful. It was silent inside, the tone of my voice naturally
去
lowered.
年できたばかりだからね。それより本当にいいの？
I said it's fine, it's not much.
でもたこ焼きとかもおごってもらっちゃったし。
Gotti was worried about me paying the entry fee. It's fine, I have a job.
一人暮らしのためにやってるんでしょ？大丈夫なの？生活費とか。
My rent is cheap and food is included. I was able to save a little every month.
それはそれで心配だわ。早乙女先生と結婚させられちゃう。
Gotti said this while taking my arm. I'd already mentioned that I had a girlfriend to the manager. I thought I was fine. Okay, you pay for dinner later then. There was a restaurant on the way here.
いいよ。って、あそこむっちゃ高いとこじゃん。
She checked her wallet while mumbling something about money. I'm kidding. Don't worry about it. I'm your boyfriend.
わかった。
Gotti smiled shyly for some reason.
アキトってかっこいいね。
Really? Thanks. What had I done that was so cool?
でも、女の子だからおごってもらうのが当然とか私思ってないからね。だから、晩ご飯は私が出す。
Alright, fine. It seemed important to her, so I accepted it instantly. We arrived at the seats the attendant directed us to. The seats were non-reservation, but depending on the day's theme, it was easier to see from certain seats, so the clerk was directing people.
お客さん、結構入ってるね。
It's more popular than I thought. The planetarium was almost full. I didn't know how many seats there were, but the dome was spacious. In the center, a strangely shaped projector sat quietly, like it could release a laser beam from a retro sci-fi movie. It was a pretty old projector for a planetarium that had only been built a year ago.
閉館したどこかのプラネタリウムから譲り受けたんだって。
Hikari read the information from the pamphlet she got from Harbor Boy. It was a very old projector made in the former East Germany. Oh no. It's communist. Break it. Break it immediately. It's not a digital projector. There were many types of planetarium projectors. Digital projectors display images on the circular dome screen and can only play normal movies instead of the stars. Digital projector planetariums were kind of like dome-shaped cinemas. This projector was an analog optical type. It used gears to change to different configurations of stars. I thought that the digital types, which could display CG images, were better for a date spot. But for the beauty of the displayed stars, the optical types couldn't be beat. The historic feeling of the shadowy, dull light of the projectors couldn't be ignored. There was a strange anticipation of wanting to see the beautiful stars displayed by the projector.
ただいまより冬の夜空のダイヤモンドを始めます。
The voice rang out in the dome. Surprisingly, it was a live narration, not a recording.
皆様、本日は当館へお越しいただきありがとうございます。
The line voice echoed gently in the half-sphere. Like a tide going out, the guests went quiet. Ah! What's wrong with me? I know what's wrong with me. I'm getting tired for some fucking reason. The feeling of the audience didn't seem like nervousness. It was more like anticipation for the show. I think that we all felt comfort with the person running the show rather than the machine.
星の中の今夜の星空をこのドームに再現します。まずは現在の空から。
It's gonna be a case of that. It's actually gonna like involve advertisement for the whole. Hey, the night sky now. Like this is the night sky as it will be tonight. Maybe wondering. Strange. It seems somewhat brighter than usual. While the night sky you currently are seeing would be the night sky tonight if there was no light pollution. And it's just basically gonna go on a tangent like that, and they're just gonna realize, what? And then Morita's just gonna show up. Surprise! The lights became dim. The skyline of Hoshinonaka City was drawn as a silhouette on the dome's edge, and the sun appeared high in the sky.
現在、太陽はこの辺りにあります。それでは、時間を進めていきましょう。
Time sped up. The sun moved across the sky of the dome and finally sank below the horizon. By the way, something I forgot to mention is that I started the recording roughly like 30 minutes late. Like between 30 and 40 minutes. Reason for that? Actually, I think possibly even an hour late. Anyways, reason for that, I was very much focused on Hoshiyori Mirai. Like I've said before, that I'm currently like rewatching all the stuff, and today I finally finished Mariko's route. So moving on to Rika's route, and by God, I can't wait for Sora's route. The thing is, Sora is the best girl in my opinion, just because I really liked her route the most. Like the thing is, when I say Sora best girl, I'm like adding up she is a character and her route together and then rating it, because that's how I tend to do it, because I'm very much bad at separating the two. The thing is, I feel like if I played the game now, there may be a potential that I like Toko more, just because of the current situation I'm in, because like that's like a big theme in her after story. So yeah, anyways, even twilight was replicated, the sky turning a vivid orange.
さあ、いよいよ夜が訪れます。その前に、皆様にやっていただきたいことがあります。 目を閉じてください。なんで目を閉じるんだろう。
I don't know. How the fuck am I supposed to read now? Come on, bullshit! Did they tell me I can open my eyes yet? Please tell me they told me I can open my eyes already. Just kidding. I'm still uncertain. We closed our eyes as asked.
よろしいでしょうか。では、そのまま少しの間、お待ちください。
The light I could feel through my eyelids went out. Night had come to the dome. Were the stars out already? I wanted to see, but the sign to open my eyes just wouldn't come. It did look an old... It did look like an old projector. Was it taking time to change from day to night? I waited, thinking that if that was the case, then this wasn't what I was hoping for.
星の中は現在夜の8時頃です。さあ、目を開けてください。
When I opened my eyes, they were filled with countless lights. The beauty of it left me dumbstruck for a moment. I heard Hikari hold her breath next to me. I could hear the other guests similarly sighing or holding their breath. It was to get our eyes used to the dark. She didn't ask us to close our eyes because it took time to change from day to night. The surprise part of the performance to show the audience the sky full of stars, roll credits, once their eyes were adjusted to the dark. If we had waited with our eyes open for the change, we would have seen stars little by little as our eyes adjusted, with no breathtaking surprise. Due to this little performance, the audience was drawn into the beauty of the
今
stars.
夜の日没は16時29分。今は8時頃ですから、もうすっかり暗くなっていますね。北西の地平線に白鳥座と夏の大三角が沈もうとしています。もう少し時間を進めてみましょう。
Time sped up again, and the summer constellations sank beyond the western horizon. The autumn constellations followed them down across the dome, and stars of the winter sky rose instead. Even so, what was the strange feeling I was having? Deja vu? A feeling of warmth in my hand. I see Hikari place her hand over mine. It was too dark to see, but it seemed that Hikari was as mesmerized as I was by the spectacular starry sky produced by the machine. So she probably wasn't putting her hand there because she missed the warmth of her boyfriend. I'm sure she was feeling the same deja vu as I was. But I didn't know the source. Had we seen the same scene before somewhere? Couldn't remember. It was irritating.
夜10時を回り、冬の星座が昇ってまいりました。南東の空のまだ低い位置に明るく輝く星。あれが天空一の輝きを放つ大犬座のシリウスです。そこから東側へ少し行ったところにあるのが子犬座のプロキオン。
The voice led us through the first magnitude stars of winter, drawing a large diamond in the sky. I knew these winter stars like the back of my hand. I had completely memorized them by heart. Since the time I had gone stargazing with Hikari and Saya, we had looked upon those jewels of the sky and had learned about them one by one. Is that what the deja vu was from? Whenever I saw these stars on any clear winter night, they sure were pretty, but they had never given me a sense of deja vu
オ
before.
リオン座の三つ星をずっと西へ伸ばしていったところにあるのが有名なプレアデス星団。
The winter diamond would be like this construct, wouldn't it? I don't fucking know. I only know that this is the Pleiades cluster, I think.
和名をスバル、ムツラ星などとも呼ばれます。プレアデスとは月の女神アルテミスに仕えた 美しい7人の姉妹のことで
I still have no idea about the stars, by the way. The narration barely reached my ears as it followed the major winter constellations. The more beautiful the stars projected on the dome, the stronger my deja vu got, and I got more irritated that I didn't know the source. Felt like I was forgetting something really important.
ところで皆様、最初に星の中の今夜の空を再現すると言いましたが、それは少し語弊があります。星の配置は今夜のものですが、もし皆様が外へ出て夜空を見上げてみても、残念ながら星はこんな風には見えません。市街の明かりにかき消されて、小さな星は
Called it.
その姿を隠
Called
して
it.
しまうからです。今皆様が見ている星空はおよそ20年前、この場所から見えていた星空だったのです。
Squeeze. Finally arriving at the end, so I gripped Hikari's hand tightly. It seemed like Hikari had been thinking the same thing at the same time. This was the sky from before the time that this planetarium, or even harbor town, had been built. They were the stars seen from the seaside when Hoshinonaka City was still split into Hoshino City and Amanonaka City. Not only that, they were...
仲のいい友達と3人でこの場所で毎晩のように星を数えていました。あの頃の夜空は今よりずっと明るかった。無数の星が雄大な夜空のスクリーンにひしめくように瞬いていて、星明かりが闇夜を照らしているようでした。一つ一つの星たちは小さな小さな光です。
I'm pretty sure all of this
目
is
が闇に慣れていなければ
Am I
見えないような。
the stupid one, or did she literally hold like this part of the speech that just not in this route? Because if I remember correctly, like this part of the speech was only Saya route. Am I being the retard here? Like, is that the problem?
でもそんな小さな光が無数に集まればこんなにも明るい夜空になる。子供心に不思議に感じ、私たちは星の世界に引き込まれていきました。
They were the stars that Hikari had talked about at the meetup. Stars that could be seen before. They were the stars that I had imagined when I had heard Hikari's speech. The sky was now spread before my very eyes. The narration had said it was the sky from 20 years ago. So that sky was a much brighter sky than the sky Saya or the eye Saya or Hikari had seen. Without ever having seen it, this was the sky I had imagined when I thought about the sky that could be seen before. This was the source of my deja vu. However, that sky had really existed. Less than 20 years ago.
今夜の星空をそのまま再現するならこんな風になります。
Shit really is depressing, man. The dome suddenly seemed to darken. Half the stars above disappeared. Those that remained dimmed and the sky lost its beauty.
星の光は何光年何万光年先から届けられた光。元は太陽の何倍もあるような恒星が放った強烈な光ですが、宇宙を旅するうちに拡散し弱まってしまいます。すぐ身近にある人工の光によって儚くもかき消されてしまうのです。
A feeling of disappointment rose up from the seats around me. I could feel Hikari's feeling through her hand. The dreary sky reminded me of the lost grandeur.
街の発展によってこんな風に星空も変わってしまうんですね。
The stars lit up the sky again. The sky brightened and we felt unconsciously
です
relieved.
が 星の中市の夜空には今もこれだけの星々が輝いています。今夜もし夜空を見上げることがあれば、今見ているこの星空を重ねてみてください。
Hikari and I memorized the countless lights produced by the projector. We tried to hold the beautiful bright sky in our minds so we would never forget it.
もう真っ暗だ。
It was dark when we left the planetarium. There was an astronomy museum attached to the planetarium. While we had been exploring the museum, it had gotten late. The exhibit was worth seeing. I'm glad we came. Hikari seemed to be thinking of something since the presentation had ended. She was looking ahead silently. Harper Town at night was a different world. With beautiful and colorful lights, it was very gorgeous.
綺麗だね。
It is the Christmas season. Only Harper Town, the shops in town were also decorated with lights. And even though it was more than 2 weeks away, it was full of Christmas spirit. The fact that there were no decorations like Santa or trees gave a distinguished feeling. It really added to the sophisticated atmosphere. Hikari stopped and looked up at the sky.
星全然見えないね。
Not when it's this bright.
イルミネーションは綺麗だけど、そのせいで星が見えなくなっちゃうなんて、なんだか悲しい。
Whoops. Hikari whispered like a child, sad from a revived sad memory. We grabbed her hand and said this. I'm convinced. There's a reason for Project Starlight.
でもどうかな。うまくいくかな。
We will. I mean, even at the stargazing yesterday, all the adults agreed with you as Hikari. They had promised to help, and that raised our motivation more than ever. Because you spoke from the heart, Hikari. I was sure that everyone had understood our feelings about the stars we could see before. But Hikari's face fell. Are you worried about something? Maybe she was thinking about Saya. She hadn't come to yesterday's
今
stargazing.
のままでいいのかなって。私、街の明かりを悪者扱いしてたけど、でもほら、
Whoops,
こんな
fuck.
にも綺麗だよ。
She said this, looking at the light decorations. They really were pretty.
地上にこんなに綺麗な光があるのなら、星を見なくてもいいんじゃないかって。
What's wrong? This isn't like you, Hikari. Maybe she was thinking about what Mr. Morita had said. You're best when you're jumping headlong into what you believe.
ダメでしょ、そんなの。もう子供じゃないんだから。
You could still be a kid. We'll back you up. Me and...
俺と
I'm saying we have your back.
それじゃ私、ただの迷惑なやつじゃん。
But that's how we had always done things. If Hikari didn't go first, nothing would ever start.
あ、そうだ。
Hikari pulled a small paper bag from her pocket. It was something she bought at the planetarium's museum.
はい、これ。今日のお礼。
What is this? It was a keychain. There was a picture of the Libra constellation on it. Shouldn't it be like twisted so these two are like the scales? Like what? Remember my birthday. My birthday was October 1st. I was a Libra.
お揃いだよ。
I can't see the lion. The Leo, I mean. Hikari had a keychain with her zodiac sign, Leo. I thought they were kind of childish items for a boyfriend and girlfriend to have, but they suited us so well that I had to smile. There was still something in the museum shop bag. Hikari didn't say anything about it was, but I could imagine what it was. It was probably a Capricorn keychain. Zaya's zodiac sign. Hikari suddenly raised both her arms in the air while still holding my hand.
今日はすごく楽しかった。いっぱい充電したから、明日からまた頑張らないとだね。
Yeah, It's not long until the deminate meteor shower. If we could recreate the sky from the planetarium, the streaking meteors would fill the sky like rain. Of course, that wouldn't be possible without the full cooperation of Hoshinonaka City.
明るい夜のために
Hikari pronounced with renewed resolve. But before that dinner,
そうだった
remembering her empty stomach, Hikari lowered her arms and wrapped them around her stomach.
よーし任せとけ晩ご飯はあたしのおごりだ
Alright, at the restaurant then.
ギリなんとかならないかな
I'm kidding! Let's not overdo it. Let's just get something we can afford.
そうだね
With that decided, Hikari took my hand and pulled me towards a building with the fast food restaurants. Now.
責任はすべて部長である俺にあるっす。責任取ってモロコがムツル星の会から抜けるっす。
それは困りますどうか早まらないでください
そうだよ川中島君たちが辞めても何にもならないって。
でもこのままじゃプロジェクトスターライトは中止。最悪ムツラ星の会を解散させられてしまうっす。
What the fuck is going on?
それはそうですが
I sank deep into the chair of the club room and put my smartphone on the desk with a sigh. We were faced with a terrible choice. Cancel Project Starlight, if not the Six Stars Club would be broken up. It had all started yesterday after school.
自分は間違ったこと言ってないはずです。
The problem is not what you said, but how you said it. If things get too out of hand, then everything will have been for nothing. Everyone was at their wits' end with the first year from Moromisawa. He had become obstinate and wouldn't listen to anyone.
いや間違ってると思う
どうしてですか？
Moromisawa first year argued vehemently at the stern
星の
words.
光は儚いものだからみんなで守らなきゃいけないって言ってたのほうき星先輩じゃないですか。
そうだねごめんでもそれは私たちの言い分でしかなくてそれを押し付けたりその主張のために誰かを傷つけたりするのは違うと思うんだ
Hikari's words were half to herself. Maybe that was why the Moromisawa first year's stubborn facade cracked and he looked depressed.
はい
Handing out pamphlets was cancelled for the day, and we were holding an emergency meeting. There had been a little trouble on the net. We had made an SNS account for Project Starlight and created a PR movie. Honestly though, none of us were used to the tools and we weren't able to use them well. That's when a user started getting upset on the message board. The situation flared up and a small scandal was starting. It was one of those online arguments. The initial reason was that the people who agreed with Project Starlight voiced some slightly extreme opinions on light pollution. Then people opposed to the opinions started a debate, which was fine, but then the Moromisawa first year jumped in. He really loved stars and constellation, and he must have really taken Hikari's words to heart. I'm sure that he had just bottled up all the emotions inside. And then he tossed his feelings all over the Project Starlight account. Then the internet argument suddenly exploded, including things that had nothing to do with the Six Stars Club. There was nothing we could do then.
でも本当に驚きました放課後いつものようにむつら星ブログのコメント欄を確認したらあのありさまで
There was usually only a few comments by regulars, but today there were dozens of comments. There were opinions for and against our efforts. Some people were supportive, but irresponsible insults were being thrown around too.
現在コメント欄を閉鎖していますがその分メールが来ているようです
Monica said this while she was like she was exhausted. Must have been her first experience with this kind of thing. Her face looked tired.
先輩
Anishiai's first year, who had been listening from the side, raised her hand
じゃ
slowly.
あ私たちがやってることって 間違っているんですか？それは。
It's not wrong, but words can hurt people when they're used recklessly. More than that, Project Starlight is our dream. It's not something we can force on people. Well, something like wishing on a shooting star, or writing a wish for Tanabata. All we can do is convince more and more people to see things our way.
でもそんな悠長なこと言ってちゃ間に合わないだろ。もう日がない。だから焦ってるんじゃないか。
確かに今の手応えじゃな。
When Nakajima answered Toyota's opinion with a wistful voice, we certainly had felt like we were making progress at stargazing a few nights before. At least we thought we had, but it seemed we were mistaken. The president of the Shopping Center Association had contacted us at the beginning of the week.
この間話したあれなんだけどね。大した協力はできそうにないんだ。今はクリスマスシーズンで書き入れ時でね。せっかくみんなで費用負担して飾ったクリスマスの電飾を一日でも止めるのはもったいないって。それにやっぱり街路灯を間引くのは防犯上良くないんじゃないかってことで。すまないね。
The president said that he would personally help, and that there were others that wanted to, but that wasn't enough to light up the sky. It was like the enthusiasm we had felt at the stargazing meetup had been replaced with a feeling of hopelessness.
自分疎いんでよくわかんないですけど、ネットの方もあんまうまくいってなかったんですよね。
フォロワーは増えないし、情報も拡散しない。共感してもらう前に誰にも見てもらえてないです。
Toyota's words weighed on all of us. Things that felt wrong when we started. Things that felt good when we started Project Starlight, but now we were on a total losing streak. We didn't even know if our small pamphlet distributions were working.
それでも一人でも多くの人に星空を見てもらえたらそれでいいじゃん。だよね、ピカリン。うん。
Hikari nodded, her face stern. She must have been thinking about how to deal with our current situation. Hikari was project leader. No one knew what to do without her direction. I think we have to deal with the net problem first, honestly. Is it okay if I take care of it?
そうしていただけると助かります。
Monaka was pale and wobbly.
ネット以外はどうするっすか？まだビラ配り続けるっすか？
まあ、あんまり意味ないと思いますけどね。
おい、豊田！そんな言い方ねえだろ！
だって本当のことじゃないか。
Stop it, both of you! Everyone was starting to get irritable.
皆さん落ち着いてください。そうだよ、喧嘩してもしょうがないじゃん。仲良くしましょう。
Those bitches made Hinami cry! Everyone settled down when they saw the first year's teary eyes.
それでこれからどうするんですか？
それは
Monaka looked at Hikari.
ネットの方は騒ぎをどうにか収めるしかないわ。ビラ配りも地道に続けるしか。12月14日双子座流星群の極大日に一人でも多くの人が部屋の明かりを消して夜空を見上げてくれるように。
Yeah, that was our supposed goal. Even if you couldn't light up the night.
さあビラ配り頑張ろう。
When Hikari spoke in an energetic voice, everyone reluctantly started moving. We handed out pamphlets with low morale, then disbanded. Hikari and I rode the bus together. Hikari had been gazing at the landscape through the window. Was she depressed or just thinking?
今起こってることってさ、全部官房会の夜に指摘されてたことなんだよね。
Was it?
うん、そうだよ。
That night, the gentleman who came with Old Man Champ had pointed out how weak our plan was. Now that the things were going wrong, maybe we were realizing our own weaknesses. But it was vague, so we ignored it.
どうなっちゃうのかな。
Right here.
私たち。
I couldn't answer that question. It's not that I didn't know. Only all the answers I could think of, I didn't want to say. I'd been so excited at first, but every time we thought we were making progress, it turned out just... It turned out to just fall through. Then there was the problem on the net. Everyone was despondent, looking like they didn't want to think about the problem. Honestly, it would have been difficult to continue Project Starlight as we were. Before I could find the words to cheer Hikari up, the bus arrived at Mikazuki Station. Got off the bus. When we got off the bus, I saw a taxi outside of the stop by. It was empty, so it must have been waiting for a passenger. Kotaro saw us and came out of his house, his tail wagging. But he slunk back in right away. Guess it was because someone he didn't know walked out of the main building of the Sao Tome house.
くれぐれもよーく言い聞かせておきますので、どうぞお怒りをお鎮めくださいませ。
あなたは私と会うたびにたたり神にでも出くわしたような顔をしますね。
There was a suited gentleman with Miss Miru as she bowed her head in shame.
あの人は
Mr. Morita? Mr. Morita? More like that. The man that came with Old Man Champ to the stargazing. So that was the person she wanted to avoid so badly that she'd work in the store. There wasn't anyone else like that there that day, so I guess it must have been him. That means that man was an old member of the Six Stars Club.
あんたたち
They both noticed us. Good evening.
先日はお世話になりました。
ああ、あなたたちはあの時の。
Mr. Morita looked up at us again and gave a gentlemanly greeting.
先日は素敵な官房会にお招きいただきありがとうございました。
いや、私たちこそ勉強させてもらって。
Kari's voice trailed off as she lost confidence. What are you doing today? Miss Miru stayed silent, but it was as if her eyes were trying to tell me something.
どうかなさったんですか？じゃねえわよ。バカバカ。
Seems she wanted to say.
あなた方が進めているプロジェクトスターライトについて顧問である早乙女さんとお話ししていました。
Only in name, really. She doesn't really do jack shit. Like, oh, does she now? I heard you sell me out. I didn't know that. I didn't know what they were talked about, but Miss Miru looked really troubled, so I was sure there was nothing
プロ
good.
ジェクトスターライトが何か。
Hikari must have sensed something off too. She asked fearfully.
すぐに計画を取りやめていただけないでしょうか。
Okay, we beat the shit out of him when?
さもなくばむつら星の会を解散していただきます。
どうしてそんな。っていうか、急に出てきて何なんですか、あなた。こら、言葉を慎みなさい、大木橋。
You're an old member of the Six Stars Club, right, Mr. Morita? But I don't think you have that kind of authority, do you?
あるのよ。
Miss Miru said this with a sigh.
尼高、西高、明高、諸見沢、聖戦女子、星野第一。この6校からなる天文部の集まりにむつら星の会と名付けたのは私です。
It was I who named them the Six Stars Club. You named it? So that
むつら
meant...
星の会を作った人。
The thing is, he's no longer involved in the clubs, though, so fuck any of his opinions. Mr. Morita affirmed without
あな
speaking.
たのやり方は請求に過ぎます。その上配慮がまるで行き届いていない。そんなやり方では到底第三者に受け入れてはもらえない。いえ、それどころか反発を招くでしょう。
The thing is, she's using the exact same methods as in Saya's route. Then here's my question, why did it work in hers? That is an honest question. Why did it work in Saya's route then? Like, don't give the exact 100% exact same circumstances, but change the outcome just because he decides to stick his dick into a different girl. Make it so the same problem actually does happen in Sai's route, or this problem doesn't happen in this one, and the problem actually is as a result of something Hikari did because she is now going out with him. With Octo. Because as it stands, this makes no sense. Mr. Morita didn't say everything, but it seemed he understood the current status of Project Starlight.
誤ったやり方は時として時間をかけて積み上げてきたものをたやすく壊してしまう。そうなる前に計画を中止してください。
The thing is, this is no longer the Six Stars Club that he has anything to do with, honestly. Because the Six Stars Club that he had something to do with closed down a few years before they restarted it. So his ass should be grateful that they even decided to start it back up. Because his stupid ass didn't try to do anything to keep the fucker alive. Unable to respond, Hikari hung her head silently. Mr. Morita glanced at Hikari and moved to the taxi. The rear door opened automatically.
それから早乙女さん。
はい。
先ほどの働き口の件、本当にお困りでしたら私からも紹介できますので。
はい。考えておきます。
それでは失礼します。
We watched Mr. Morita leave in the taxi silently. Like, honestly, God, just speak up about the fact, hey, little asshole, little bastard. We had to revive the damn thing, while you didn't do jack shit. So how about you keep your grubby mutts out of our activities? So fuck off, okay? Okay. Screw you, mister. Actually, no, I'm not even gonna say mister. Screw you, absolute bastard. Miss Miuru shouted, half crying. She never got like that, even when the manager really yelled at her.
まさか、森田さんが直々に来るなんて。っていうか、何が働き口紹介するよって。大きなお世話だっつうの。こっちはやりたくてニートやってんだからね。
Oops. Miss Miuru let her anger out and grabbed an orange from the kotatsu table. Hikari and I sat across the kotatsu from Miss Miuru. It appeared Mr. Morita had been very direct when he talked about our situation. Other than that, it seemed he asked Miss Miuru about the Six Stars Club's activities, and he scolded her when she couldn't answer properly. Perhaps he had scolded her about her current lifestyle too, but maybe that was for her own good. I'm sorry, this is my fault.
しゃあないわよ。顧問なんてそんな役回り、引き受けたの私だし。
The scolding must have been quite harsh, judging from her tired face. So that guy was an old member of the Six Stars Club, but who is he?
どういうって。あんた、そりゃ大先輩よ。
Miss Miuru burrowed under the kotatsu, looking cold, and answered while peeling her orange.
私らと同じ星野第一の出身で、むつら星の会を作ったメンバーの一人よ。
What a fucking course he had to be for Hoshi no Daiichi.
あの人がむつら星の会を作ったんですか？
Miss Miuru nodded heavily.
当時のことはよく知らないけど、森田さんが温度を取って始めたんじゃなかったかしら。私が現役だった頃も、なんとか官房会に来てたけど、おっかないのよ。森田スマイル。温厚そうで、いつも笑ってるくせに、言うことが超手厳しいのよね。ふざけてる男子とか、よく正座でお説教されてたわ。
He used gentle words, but the stern meaning didn't have any mercy. For Miss Miharu living her current lifestyle, I couldn't understand why she didn't. I could understand why she didn't want to see him.
空への思いが強すぎるのよね。天文バカで、天文の発展のために一生捧げてる人よ。
Is he a professional astronomer or something? I had heard that some old members of the Six Stars Club had gone in that direction.
あんたら行ってきたでしょ？ハーバータウンのプラネタリウム。
Oh yeah. After we returned from the date, Miss Miharu had complained that we were a real-life soppy couple of lovebirds.
あのプラネタリウムがどうかしたんですか？あそこの館長よ。
Oh, wow. Huh?
館長？あのプラネタリウム、森田さんが建てたの。
Miss Miharu nodded, her face saying what I meant. See what I mean.
そんな人に直々に足を運ばせるなんて、あんたら何やらかしたのよ。
Sorry a lot happened. I summarized everything for Miss Miharu. I told her about our failure to make progress with Project Starlight, as well as about the trouble on the net.
聞いてるこっちまで胃が痛くなってくる。
Miss Muto said while holding her stomach. She stuffed her cheeks with a carefully peeled orange to cleanse her palate.
気の毒だけど、森田さんがああ言ってる以上、私じゃどうしようもないから。
Cancel the project or disband the club. It seemed we had no choice, but actually, that wasn't the case. If we had the authority to disband the Six Stars Club, then he could just do it. We could see Mr. Morita's consideration in the fact that he came all the way to tell us to stop the project.
そんな顔しないでよ、ほうき星。私だって、辛いんだから。
This is actually okay, we are going to beat the shit out of Morita! He will be bloody and bruised by the end of this day! How dare he make me out to cry! This is just a part of beatings, apparently, because, you know, Toyota and Kawanakajima are getting a beating for making Hinami cry, and now Morita is getting a beating for being an asshole and making Miharu cry. So, yeah, that's that. Also, the first year is getting a beating, the Moromisawa first year, for, you know, starting this whole fucking flame war bullshit.
ごめんなさい。全然元気ですから、私。だから、泣かないで、先生。
Even though we were down, we couldn't help but try to comfort the adult crying in front of us.
ごめんね。守ってあげられなくて。私って、ダメな先生だね。嘘。
We cheered Miss Miharu up the best we could until she stopped crying. This time Kotaro came over to Hikari with his tail wagging when he came out of the main building. Hikari spoke while lightly stroking Kotaro.
びっくりした。急に泣くんだもん。大人も泣くんだね。
Oops. Despite her looks, she's still a teacher that cares about her students. Though it was possible Mr. Morita was just that scary. It seemed Project Starlight had reached a roadblock. If we told everyone that what Mr. Morita said, they would want to cancel the project. That might have been okay on its own, but with that lingering feeling of hopelessness, I was worried about the future of the Six Stars Club.
楽しいだけでやってきたのが悪かったのかな。
That's what we do best. We wanted to let more people in on that fun.
私はこの計画を実行しても失うものなんてないって思ってた。もし失敗して徒労に終わっても、それでしんどい思いをするのは自分たちだけだもん。でも違うんだね。アピールするってことは誰かを巻き込むことで。
I forgot. I just thought of some. Like, whoops, she's still not done. I just thought of something. Like while during the stargazing event where Morita spoke up first and first decided to be an asshole, just like look at him. It would be awesome if like somebody there knew that he was the director of that, like someone in the group, just like they just decide to speak up. Oh, well, we're not saying that lights are a bad thing, however. It is very sad that they basically hide the stars from us. But I'm sure as the director of the planetarium, you would adore the fact if people couldn't see the stars normally and therefore had to go pay at the planetarium. Wouldn't that be nice? Just immediately shut him down. Like, it is very nice that you're trying to be... it's very nice that you're trying to suggest that the lights are still very pretty, but you know, first off, the stars are prettier. Second off, you're just caring about lining your pockets. So shut the fuck up and leave, please.
それは私たちが思っているよりずっと繊細で大切なものなのかもしれない。
I put my arm around Hikari's shoulders as she whispered sadly. But I couldn't find the words to say to her. All I could think of were cliché phrases that wouldn't fix anything. Hikari looked up at the sky. As she looked at the lightly shining stars in the early night sky, she muttered to
やっ
herself,
ぱり星に手は届かないんだね。
Hikari put her hand into her coat pocket and gripped something inside. I looked at her from the side. Her face was like a lost child. I was angry at myself for not being able to hold her hand as we walked, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Oh boy, we're back at this argument. Time to end this. Hope you guys enjoyed this one and see you next time. Bye bye.